It is true that India is the largest democracy in the world. Democracies need democratic policing. That means policing that is law upholding and not just law enforcing. Democracies need a police service, not a police force. Do we have that? Does Maharashtra have that? Let's take a look. The Maharashtra Police Act of 1951 governs policing in Maharashtra. It was based on the colonial 1861 Police Act. Both of these acts keep the police strongly under the control and authority of whatever regime is in power at that moment. This naturally makes the police the servants of the regime rather than in service of the people. Can we change this? In 1979, right after the emergency, the National Police Commission was set up to look deeply at policing and accountability. The Commission produced 8 reports, a slew of recommendations, and a Model Police Act. All this was to fix this broken system. That was nearly 4 decades ago. Since then, neither the states nor the centre has implemented the main reforms, and the reports are lying there in a drawer gathering dust. As a result, policing could never move towards becoming a public service organization. Then, in 2006, as a result of a PIL, the Supreme Court, in what is popularly known as the Prakash Singh case, thoughtfully distilled the NPC's many recommendations and crafted 6 clear directives that the states and union territories must adopt in order to fix India's policing problems. The first directive establishes a State Security Commission. This is a bipartisan body intended to be a buffer between the police and government. That doesn't mean that the political executive loses all control over the police. It just filters that control and tempers how the control is to be exercised. The SSC is expected to lay down broad policy guidelines, look at policing plans, regularly assess police performance, and report all this to the legislature. This is a very good idea to prevent illegitimate political interference. The second directive is to ensure that the Director General of Police has a minimum tenure of 2 years. Through a transparent selection process, the DGP must be selected from amongst the 3 senior-most officers impaneled by the Union Public Service Commission. The selection is to be based on the candidate's length of service, his record, the range of his experience. All this so that the new Chief of Police will be chosen on merits and not on patronage. Another very good idea for better leadership. The third directive extends this idea to officers on operational duty all the way down to the station house officer. This reduces use of arbitrary transfers to punish policemen for disobedience even when they have done nothing wrong. Another good idea for effective law enforcement. In the fourth directive, the court said, please separate investigation and law and order functions. Each is a specific function that requires different skills and training. Another good idea to upgrade investigation and prevent crime. The fifth directive sets up a police establishment board made up of the police chief and 4 of his senior-most officers. The court said that for police officers of and below the rank of Deputy Superintendent of Police, the PEB will decide all transfers, postings and promotions and other service-related matters. For officers above that rank, it will make recommendations to the state government. This directive is meant to put the management of the police back where it belongs, in the hands of its leadership and not in the hands of any outsider. A very good idea for the morale of the police. The sixth directive requires governments to create a police complaints authority. This is a specialist body that will look into public complaints against police officers in cases of serious misconduct. The state-level body will look into cases including death, grievous hurt or rape by deputy superintendents and above. The district-level PCA will inquire into cases of serious misconduct including death, grievous hurt, rape in police custody, and any incident involving serious abuse of authority by subordinate ranks. The PCA's direct oversight is meant to give the public a local level place to go with their grievances. Another good idea, this time for weeding out rotten individuals and reducing overall bad practice. The 6 directives of the Supreme Court were required to be adopted altogether. In the same way that a single hammer isn't enough to build a police station, since many tools are required to build a solid foundation, no one directive can be used to fix policing. Systemic, holistic reform is key. So what has Maharashtra done about the Supreme Court's orders? In 2008, the Supreme Court set up a monitoring committee to look at compliance by all states. Maharashtra was in total non-compliance. Since then, there has been a consistent push for the state to adopt the Supreme Court's directives faithfully. In 2014, the state enacted the Maharashtra Police Amendment Ordinance in seeming compliance with the court's orders. But in reality, it misses the mark by a long shot. So let's review the score. Directive 1. Set up a State Security Commission. The 2014 ordinance sets up a body but without the crucial independent panel to select or remove members of the SSC. Its recommendations are also non-binding and it is really only advisory in nature, so little change from the present. Directive 2. Selection and tenure of the DGPs. The Maharashtra ordinance omits the short listing of candidates by the Union Public Service Commission, so it keeps the selection of the DGP firmly in political hands without any independent shortlisting. Directive 3. Tenure for operational officers. The Maharashtra ordinance allows for mid-term transfers for exceptional circumstances, for the public interest, and on account of administrative exigencies. This makes it really easy to use discretion when the whole idea was to reduce discretions and arbitrary transfers. Directive 4. Separation of law and order from investigation. The Maharashtra ordinance does not create new and specialized crime investigation units, but rests on the plea that this is somewhat already in place. Directive 5. The Police Establishment Board. The Maharashtra ordinance deviates from the court's composition and brings in people outside the police leadership, so outside influence will still decide career paths and assess capabilities when this should be the job of the police's managers. Directive 6. The Police Complaints Authorities. Instead of being totally independent of the police as the Supreme Court required, now it has serving officers on it. No arm's length process for appointing members, and to ensure its weakness, its recommendations are not even binding. So, not much relief for the citizen here. Can such an ordinance really make policing better for all of us? Or do we all lose, the police and the public? The situation on the ground doesn't look so good for Maharashtra. Maharashtra has the highest number of custodial deaths. There is a shortfall of nearly 10,000 officers. 56% of Mumbai's police are on VIP duty. In Maharashtra, there is one police officer for nearly 600 people, while in Delhi, there is one police officer for 250 people. Working hours are bad, living conditions unfair. But all is not lost. Police in Maharashtra are trying to make a difference. Women's organizations are strongly engaged. The High Court and Supreme Court are watching. Civil society groups like Praja, PCGT, Police Reforms Watch, CHRI, and many others are pressing for better policing. Better policing requires better laws. This ordinance is not that law and won't make for better police. So, we invite you now to join us to make policing better.